The day has finally come. Far Cry 4 is at an end. I finally hit 100% completion, and as a result I'll be sharing with you the collectibles today, in particular the Lost Letters and Mohan Ghale's journal. And we'll be taking a look at the special secret ending for Far Cry 4, which honestly is pretty freaking fantastic. Of course they're going to make the last one the hardest. You see up there? 93 meters? There's some sort of gap. I've got to walk across this stupid thing. God, can I? There's no... Can I make that? I'm not entirely convinced I can make this. Jesus. Ugh. Okay, looks like we're going to be able to do it. Hello, everyone. And welcome back to the very final episode of StephenPlays Far Cry 4. I said early on that I didn't plan on going for 100%, and there were comments that were like, Stephen, you should do 100%. You should definitely do 100%. Well, I then said that if I was pretty close, at the end of the game, that I would go for it. I would go for 100%. And it turns out that at the end of last episode, I don't remember exactly where it was at, but it was like 89%. I was like 89% done with the game, and I'm like, well, crap. I'm so close to being 100% that I might as well 100% the game. I 100%ed Skyrim. Took nearly 3 years, but I did it, and I'm like, yeah, certainly I can 100% this game. So I decided that that's what I would do. Little did I know that even though it was only like 11 more percent, that it was an crazy amount of stuff that I needed to do. And since the end of last episode, I've put like 12 more hours into the game. 12 hours. 12 hours. Let me explain to you exactly what I had to do. All of the little masks of Gelung and the propaganda posters and Mohan Ghale's journal and letters, because there were letters, have been scattered all over the place in both Northern Karat and Southern Karat, and I've collected all of them, and it took like 12 hours. The very last thing that I need to hit 100% is this. The last lost letter. Oh my god. It's been a long journey. A long journey. Like, I've spent so much freaking time inside the world of Far Cry 4, and I thought of maybe showing you like a cool collage of me, or not collage, montage of me getting all the stuff, because I did that in GTA 5 near the end, and it was really neat, because I actually filmed every single thing. I filmed me getting all this stuff, but it's so long. It's completely different from GTA 5, because in GTA 5 you got like the spaceship parts and something else, and it's not that bad. But in this one, like, there was so much stuff. Look at the progress here. So we did all the campaign, we did the open world. Karma, we got to level 8. Personal progress, we got everything there was to get for that. We did all the quests and activities. And the collectibles, man, oh my god. Like, fortunately, the propaganda posters are for the most part out in the open, so you can just kind of fly around in a buzzer and shoot stuff. You can, use your grenade launcher, or if you're like me and have a glitched game and have infinite Molotovs, it makes it, a little bit faster. But the massive Yalung, for the most part, are like in caves. So you had to land, you had to go find them. The Monty Wheels, you have to be on foot to grab. The journals and the Lost Letters, you have to be on foot to grab. So I had to do all that stuff. But right now, 39 hours and 7 minutes, 100%. I 100%ed Far Cry 4. You guys wanted to see it, and I did it. To be fair, a lot of the stuff we didn't do on screen, which was kind of like a huge difference from Skyrim. If I would have shown everything, I don't know how much time that would have added to the LP, but it would have probably made the LP, I don't know, another 30 to 50 episodes, and it would have been completely unnecessary, because a lot of stuff is the same crap, like over and over and over again. Anyway, I do want this to be a 100% episode, because I wanted to show that off. I wanted to say, oh my god, I did it. Yes! Holy crap, I 100%ed another game, and a pretty long one at that. 39 hours is nothing to shake a stick at. But at the end of last episode, we got hit with some pretty crazy story stuff. Obviously, we finished up the game. If you haven't seen that, I don't know why you're here. Like, you really need to make sure that you have seen the end of Far Cry 4 before you continue, because we're going to spoil some stuff. Good? We're on the same page? Okay, great. So, at the end, they kind of, I don't know, like, throughout the entire game, Sabal was talking about how, great Mohan got. Oh, God. Am I going to die? Oh, Jesus. Am I okay? I'm okay. I'm okay. Whew. Thank you, game. Sabal's always talking about how great Mohan Ghale is, and Amita's like, no, he's living in the past. But then, like, at the end of the game, all of this drama happens because Pagan Min is actually, the father and of your half-sister, and, like, all this crap is going down, right? They kind of, at the very end of the game, paint Mohan Ghale as a bad guy. Maybe he is. I don't know. Well, here's one of the cool things. Those journals that we've been collecting, you can read them. And they actually let you see what happened in the, through the eyes of Mohan Ghale. That's what I'm so excited to see, because I haven't read this stuff yet. I have no idea what we're going to see, but I'm going to read through the journals now, and we can actually kind of get a bigger picture about what's really going on, because we've only heard a few sides of the story, and we haven't heard AJ's father's side. So, let's do that. If we go in here and go over to collection, we've got a few things. The loot bag doesn't matter. Kingman's Karat was another thing that you could collect. It wasn't necessary for 100%, but there's just a bunch of stuff that you can learn about. If anyone is truly interested in this stuff, you can pause and read any of these things that you would like. These are the people. These are probably the most interesting things. Once again, pause if you're interested in reading that. There's also the places. There's ones for the animals. I got a lot of them, but not all of them, and you know what? That's okay. The Lost Letters, I'm pretty sure are interesting. Before we jump into Mohan Ghale's journal, I want to read these because I actually don't really know what these are for. There were apparently two explorers, Charlotte and Robert, who I believe are writing to each other as they're going through, I guess, Karat. So I thought that would be interesting to jump into first. This is all like in GTA 5, I think they did it best because you have a mission. You have a reward as a mission for getting 100%. In Far Cry 4, you don't. There is no reward. And that kind of sucks. But at least if you get all this stuff, it gives you a little bit more to the lore, a little bit more to the story, which I thought was Far Cry 4's strongest element, the story. So at least we get to see that. All right, so let's start here. From Charlotte in June 1819. Robert, at the time of this writing, I imagine you are still at sea, having set sail for Karat. Please write as soon as you can. Despite the unyielding waves of nausea, I still wish to know you have arrived safely with your limbs intact. Eternally yours, Charlotte. Dearest Charlotte, you have been foremost in my thoughts since we set sail. Have the horrible morning misery subsided? Promise me you will call on the doctor. Surely they can be cured through the application of medicines or leeches. The relentless heat here, a few steps will render me soaked in sweat, has made for an unfortunate introduction to the breathtakingly beautiful region of Karat. I'm training the local Gurkha Brigade, or rather they are training me. Clearly my highly qualified superiors at the East India Company overlooked their skill, both with the blade, what they call the kukri, and the rifle. I may inform the company as such and hasten my return to you. The local culture is intoxicating. You would be overwhelmed by the colors and design of their garments and tapestries. I hope to understand their meanings more fully. I miss you greatly and eagerly await your words. Love, Lieutenant Robert F. Barclay, East India Trading Company Army, June 29th, 1819. So they're kind of setting a picture. Obviously, there's a little mini-story going here with these Lost Letters, but also what's more interesting to me is the fact that Karat didn't always suck. Back in 1819, apparently things were pretty good. Robert, you have left me slightly confused. Were you concerned when you agreed to leave your freshly married wife and set sail for Karat? Or was it when it dawned upon you that you'd left an unborn child in your wake? How odd. In our courtship, you described marriage as a covenant, one that continued until death. I realize the danger in which I have placed myself should someone intercept this letter and read such inflammatory correspondence, but I already feel as abandoned as one might be in prison. The misery has not subsided, nor has the pestering of your mother. Perhaps you could write her and explain that if I need care, I will ask. My words fall on deaf ears. I have an urge to follow Lady Godiva, ride naturel on horseback till someone listens to my pleas for some time to myself. Though I'm not sure that would be healthy for the boy. Yes, I've decided our child is a boy. His name will be Thomas. Do be careful so your child might meet his father. Okay, so there was a love affair, apparently, between Charlotte and Robert. Okay, the plot thickens. My dearest Charlotte, our marriage is indeed the most sacred covenant. I realize the miseries of your condition will tempt you to forget or act in accusatory ways, but remember my love and look forward to the benefits this trip will affect for our growing family. I do not seek your pity, but last night an attempt was made on my life. One of the locals insulted after I spat out the overly spiced food he gave me. Thankfully, one of the Gurkhas came to my rescue. In an instant, my assailant lay slain on the floor. I thanked him in his native tongue. I'm beginning to pick up small tokens of the language and often hear them talking of the local myths. I cannot distinguish them fully, but I am inching closer to understanding. I count the days until I return and help you welcome our son into the world. All my love, Lieutenant Robert F. Barclay. P.S. While I adore Thomas, as it's your father's name, I've always admired the name George myself. Robert, do not be so foolish as to get yourself killed. I hope the thought of Thomas without a father to shepherd him through his life is enough to encourage you to be more careful. I must admit I bear some regret at the harshness of my last letter. To be with child and alone in such a large house bears down on the mind. Perhaps you should be accompanied by this Gurkha at all times, at least until you are familiar with the local customs. Thomas kicked again today. It brings me joy to feel his life stirring. He is much like his father, allergic to keeping in one spot for long, a curiosity that will no doubt run him afoul of foolhardy circumstances. That being said, I am curious as to the local myths you speak of. It would be a welcome break from Bible study. I look forward to your response, Charlotte. P.S. Unless you want our child to be a reckless, womanizing charlatan, King George is out of the question. Would you like to add a fourth as well? My father's name should suit him just fine. Dearest Charlotte, you are as clairvoyant as you are witty. The Gurkha who saved me, he is called Nandi, has been by my side. He comes and goes with the grace of a cat, but appears whenever there is need. He is taking me to the monumental statues of Kira, the sleeping saints as the locals call them, tomorrow. They are carved from the earth, built over 300 years ago to honor the first being created by Banashur, god of gods. Kira, in her search for enlightenment, journeyed all over Kirat, deep into its secret places. When she finally achieved nirvana, her spirit crashed out of her skull to the sound of a bell and created a paradise called Shangri-La. Fantastic, isn't it, Charlotte? I wish I could feel the lively kicks of our son, but this journey will provide him footsteps worthy of following. All my love, Lieutenant Robert F. Barclay. P.S. I was thinking of my uncle George, another former king who, carnal sense aside, was still appointed by powers greater than we and worthy of our respect. My dear Robert, this Kira sounds fascinating, certainly rubbish, but a good tale. A Kirati's imagination is truly a wonder. Promise you'll take notes of the fantastic things you see. I care not for truth. Entertainment is far more important. Yet you must be careful. I'm happy to hear a local is accompanying you, but his eagerness is suspicious. Can Nandi be trusted? Forgive my suspicions. I debated whether to tell you, but I had an awful dream last night. I was alone in a dark forest. I had just given birth to our child, but he was stillborn. I clutched him, crying, when a man appeared before me. He was painted white with a terrifying golden mask. He took our child from my arms. I followed him to a flowing river of bloody red. He went straight into the water with our child disappearing into its depths. All I could do was scream. What is odd is I was not screaming for Thomas, I was screaming for you. I have not been able to sleep since. Please tread carefully, my love. Charlotte. Dearest Charlotte, events have taken a turn and I'm packing my bags. I must follow the fantastic imagination of the Kiratis into what I'm convinced is reality. Dearest, your last letter convinced me. They say that while the goddess Kira sought enlightenment in the Himalayas, she grew frustrated at her lack of progress. She spun a prayer wheel in anger, pricking her fingers. Bleeding, she washed her hands in the river and all the water her eyes could see turned a deep red, a reminder of her impatience. I'm sure you realize the similarities to your dream. It can only mean Shangri-La is calling me. Can you imagine? A paradise with a different set of laws where myth becomes undeniable truth. Nandi is taking me to an old priest in the mountains who will know more. The Gurkhas don't need me. Take care, Charlotte. If need be, see the Swaddles. Henry Swaddle is odd, but an excellent midwife and will be a great comfort to your condition. All my love, Robert. Robert, I must question the wisdom of this sudden decision to run off to the wilderness with a man you know little about, and, as I have previously expressed, is rather suspicious, even if he did save your life. You've read too much into my dream. The midwife Swaddle says night terrors are normal for a woman in my stage of pregnancy. Why, just last night I dreamt I delivered dear Thomas, but when I went to bring him to my breast, he had the face of a white tiger. Naturally, this is absurd. Please don't go conflating it with your purpose in that confounded country. If the Gurkhas do not need you, come home. Thomas and myself are your reality, Thomas. Are your reality, Robert. You must set sail as soon as possible. I look forward to hearing from you and your plans to return, Charlotte. P.S. I hope you are not experimenting with mind-altering substances over there. I know you indulged in your fair share of opium as a youth, but you swore those days were behind you when we married. Maybe I misread something early on. Because I thought that there was an affair going on, but maybe I just misread it and these are just two married people and Robert is traveling. Perhaps so. Yes. Okay. Yeah, they are married. Sorry, this is not an affair. Things weren't making complete sense. I was like, this is really weird. Yeah, were you concerned when you agreed to leave your freshly married wife and said, okay, so these people are married. Yes, this is not an affair. I apologize. I was confused. My dear Charlotte, my only opium has been the intoxicating revelations from High Priest Kabir. It took us several days to find him in the mountains, but it looked as if he was expecting our arrival. His assistant, Rajpreet, translated, but when I asked about Shangri-La, she refused. She must have thought I was unworthy. Can you believe it? Only when I offered my entire purse was I invited inside. I was taken to a chamber to see the Thangka. It was only one piece. There are 4 others, but he only allowed me to see one. I took one look and felt a flash of white. I became a warrior in Karat, but thousands of years ago. I met a tiger of the purest white I've seen. Your prophecy was foretold. The river flowed red just as you saw. Everywhere I saw horrible men with masks. I found a giant bell chained to the ground. I smashed the chain and it rang, waking me in a cold sweat. I must rest. Guru Kabir has promised to show me the second Thangka tomorrow. Take care, my love. Robert. So this is interesting because it's tying in with the game so well. Because we went through all the Shangri-La stuff, but they don't really explain it that well. These leathers actually do a better job of explaining it than the game did. Robert, are you back on that wicked pipe? Or sick with some terrible fever? I fear you have been seduced by the evil Nandi with extravagant tales. Robert, surely you should recognize that if a man calls himself a priest but then demands your entire purse for entry into his cult, he is a false prophet. No true servant of God would demand money for knowledge. Only agents of evil seize upon the impressionable and weak and extort them for all they are worth. Oh, Robert, I don't know what to believe. Is it not enough that I have to go through this pregnancy alone, but that my husband should seem to be losing his very mind in the process? I've been very sick of late, and am as tired of this pregnancy as I am weary with worry. You know I love you, and only want the best for us all. If need be, I am prepared to write your superiors in order that you get the help you need and are brought home safely. I pray this is a cruel game, and you have bought passage aboard the next ship, Charlotte. Charlotte, this is no game. I have seen Shangri-La. It is more than real. It is extraordinary. Guru Kabir brought me to the second Thangka, a world where gravity was a plaything and water flowed up instead of down. These bells, the bells of my enlightenment, are chained. I must save them, free them from the Rakshasa, a winged demon in control of Shangri-La, turning it to evil. Who knows what he'll devour next? Shangri-La, Kirat, England, none of us are safe. Only the sound of their ring can purge the land of wickedness. Kalanag will be the first to destroy it. The tiger knows this truth just as well as I. I will not waste my time with threats. I am doing this for the good of the family. Guru Kabir told me those who have not seen the Thangka will never understand. If you dare mention one word to the colonel, I promise you will not see a dime of my earnings. Who will they believe? Myself or a pregnant housewife? I'd rather our child starve than be deterred from my mission. Ooh. So he's losing his mind, essentially, at this point. Robert, how dare you threaten the well-being of your son? Take your money from me if you like, waste it on that detestable guru and his blasphemous drawings, but don't even think of impoverishing Thomas in the name of this grotesque game you're playing. Do Thomas and I occupy any space in your heart? Or is it totally consumed by this kebab or kabird or whatever his name is? We took vows, Robert. Do you remember? I do. Despite the vicious tone of your last letter, I still love you. But any person with an ounce of common sense would believe me, pregnant, housewife and all, over your outlandish ramblings regarding tigers and bells and demons poised to take over England. You've fallen prey to a dark mysticism, Robert. I'll beg you again, come home. Or at least return to camp. If the stories are true as you say, tell the colonel. There is no need to hide. Write me as soon as you receive this. I'm truly afraid for you, Robert. I need to know you are all right. Charlotte. There is no need for me to hide. I only see truth. Charlotte, I flew today. I stepped into a tunnel of wind that carried me high into the air and left me there. I saw 1,000 miles in every direction, past and future strewn before me like an endless painting. The wonders of the Thunkas are never ending. No surprise they are so hard to find. I would hunt the ends of the earth to experience their truths. The envy in my heart for the birds that cut through the air with abandon, it twists my stomach into knots. The freedom, the exhilaration, the complete detachment to all worldly things. Worldly things. I wonder if that's the answer to my enlightenment. You, Charlotte, are a worldly thing, are you not? I broke the chains of another bell. The Rakshasa is hurt by each ring, but flies closer with every step I take. As Kalanag, I have the power to stop it. These letters are my only connection to this world. The Guru says there will be a time when I do not need them anymore, but not yet. Robert. Robert. I am compelled to remind you that your name is Robert, and not Kalanag. I also see no need to hide. I have written your superiors and informed them of your escapades. I feel I should also tell you I have already received a response in which they inform me you are guilty of desertion and should you be found are to be shot on sight. Do you have any idea of the shame you've brought on myself and your son? Your son, who was born last night after hours of worldly labor on my part. If it were not for the midwife's swaddle, I think I should have died, not of pain, but for lack of loving encouragement and support. It breaks my heart to know that when our dear Thomas opened his eyes, you were not there to look back at him. You are still my husband, Robert. Come home. We will find a way to deal with your charge of desertion as serious as the offense is. Thomas is crying now and in need of a feeding. Robert, please, wrest yourself from these evil demons and come home. And finally, the last letter. Oh, wait. Almost last letter. Death means little to me. To face the Rakshasa, one must be fearless, unyielding, and yes, prepared to meet Banashur the Creator. My enlightenment will come only once this winged demon is finally put to rest. Guru Kabir allowed me to gaze on the beauty of the fourth Thunka today. I saved the most beautiful elephant, and with the tiger we destroyed the hundreds of masked men that threatened us, our life, our Thomas. I rode across a bridge of leaves that guided me to the next bell. Its ring brought much pain to the Rakshasa, but he is not dead. He awaits me at the top of a spire. I must return. The Guru in retreat said I am not ready for the final Thunka, that I must wait. His words are always rich with meaning, his wisdom endless. I would love to say that it brings me joy to hear the news of Thomas's birth. That would be the correct thing to say now, wouldn't it? But truth is all that matters to me now, and the truth, I dare not share it. Robert, I wish the thought of impending death meant something to you. I received another correspondence from the Colonel. A search party has been sent, not for your safe recovery and return home, but for your treason and the security of the knowledge which you hold regarding the Gurkha forces. I've written back and tried my best to convince him of your madness, that you are sick and only deserted under heavy influence, but I fear my letter will arrive too late. Tell me, Robert, how will you pursue these drawings if you are lying in the middle of Karat with a bullet in your head? I see you no longer care, but Thomas is healthy and growing quickly. Swaddle has been very attentive since the birth, and Thomas coos with excitement whenever he is here. Tomorrow I will talk with our father to see if there's anything that can be done to save your soul. After that, I will have exhausted all resources in order to bring you home. Let them search day and night. The man they knew is gone. Know that my actions are not for myself or the Guru or the child you call my son. They are for something greater, for balance. Shangri-La is not some faraway place. It is within me and within you. Once I defeat the Rakshasa, I will spread this enlightenment across the cracked globe. Only then will you understand what Shangri-La means for all of humankind. Guru Kabir said it is time to face the Rakshasa and embrace my enlightenment, to let go of everything that has held me back thus far. I am journeying to the spire, what some call the tiger's nest. This is my last letter. A true karate warrior cannot waste his time with such idle things. I have trained for this moment, and you have dreamt of it. You are no longer my distraction. The Tiger Protector is the only family I need. I wish you only peace. I wish that your child find his own truth and earn his title. So say I, Kalanag, keeper of his name, last of his line. Dearest Robert, despite all that has transpired, I harbor no ill will and regret not one moment we spent together. While no soul is beyond redemption, it is clear the man I knew is gone. In showing our correspondence to Father, he agrees, and considering the state of events, has granted me an annulment for our marriage. In a fortnight I will be joined to the midwife's swaddle. He is good, honest, and Thomas loves him dearly. I know in my heart your suffering will end soon. The best of you lives in Thomas, and for that I will always be grateful. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, and yet my writing is starting to blur before me. Goodbye, Robert. Even though we are now separate, I will never stop praying for your soul. All my love, Charlotte. So many months. So many. Charlotte, I'm not. I am here. Rakshasa is dead. Dead and gone. They're all gone. Alone, but I am here. Kalanag is dead. I have nothing. Please, I have nothing. The Thanga has all of it for me. It took it all. I don't know more than that. Poor Swaddle, poor Thomas. I'll see you. I'm coming. Robert is coming. Thomas is mine. Tell me Robert is coming. He will see you soon. Do not wait. I'm leaving. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I will write. Shangri-La is here. It is here. I will bring it with me for you. I'm scared, Charlotte. I need Charlotte. Please, Charlotte, for Robert. Kalanag is dead. Find me. Karat will wait. I will wait. Wow. That was quite a read. That tells a very impressive story that you don't get out of AJ going into Shangri-La and, you know, tearing stuff up. A very different story that completely ruined a family. Mohan Ghale's journal. This is going to go through many, many years and actually tell the story of Mohan Ghale, and I'm actually really excited about this. By Shock, 1981. Ishwari and I were married today, so we're starting at a perfect time. The ceremony was small, just her parents and mine. The village elders still believe it is bad fortune to marry a Tarun Matara, but I don't see it that way. She is charming and intelligent. Our marriage was arranged when we were children, years before her selection as Kira's vessel, and her dowry was paid by the temple. Money enough to set up for the house, maybe even buy a rice cooker. And my transfer to the Royal Guards has been approved, so I'll need new uniforms. Thanks, year 1985. I couldn't protect them. My only duty was to protect the royal family, and I failed. The nationalists stormed the palace in the middle of the night. They breached the front doors with explosives and cleared the way ahead of them with hand grenades. I was stationed in the main hall when the blast knocked me off my feet. They walked right past me and into the royal bedchambers. I heard 5 gunshots, and my heart sank with each report. With the king dead, Karat will surely descend into anarchy. Ashad, 1986. Another brutal fight against the nationalists today. Their ranks are bolstered by foreign criminals, and they're armed with American-made weapons. The monsoon rains won't soon wash the blood off the streets of Tirtha. I came home well after sundown and crawled into bed next to Ishwari. We would be lost without her. She speaks directly to the hearts of the people. She reminded me of the first 4 years of our marriage. We were not rich, but we were happy. There was peace. So much has changed. Today I met a man named Pagan Min. He is from Hong Kong and has a distant relative of the murdered king with him. He also has an army of mercenaries. He is well-spoken and confident, if a bit young. I'm still processing it all. It's almost too good to be true. It's like Kira has sent a savior for us, someone who can turn the tide of the civil war and restore the monarchy of Kirat. Between the combined forces of the Royalists and Pagan Min's mercenary army, the Nationalists don't stand a chance. There is so much uncertainty in our future. Sometimes I catch myself wishing she wasn't with child. As soon as I think this, I am overcome with guilt. I must remind myself that this is a good thing. I love Ishwari and the child she bears. I love that we will soon become a family. I hope that our child is born into a secure and prosperous Karat. I knew it was too good to be true. We've been betrayed by Pagan Min. We spent months fighting alongside his men, and just as we seized the palace, he killed the royal heir and installed himself as king. It was a bloodbath. Pagan's men turned on us, and many were lost before they even realized they were in danger. I barely escaped with my life and am now in hiding with a handful of survivors. Karat is now in the hands of a traitorous dog, a dog I intend to put down before I die. Pagan's influence grows every week. People flock to join the royal army, while his guards, those thugs he brought over from Hong Kong, tear the country apart. We lost another 3 outposts last night. They're better trained and better armed. We lack organization. Ishwari thinks I should be the one to lead what's left of the royalists against Min's regime. She speaks of a dream in which we walk along a golden path. I worry for her safety. We've decided to name the baby Ajay if it's a boy. The last couple months have been difficult, but I've managed to find more surviving members of the Royalist movement. We've set up camp in the mountains. Many survivors owe their lives to a handful of Pagan's mercenaries. They refused their orders to turn on us and instead stood with us. Together, we will form a new resistance called the Golden Path. Ishwari smiled when I told her the name. It was the first time I've seen her smile in months. Once victory is achieved, in the absence of a royal heir, the Tarun Matara will serve as head of state under a regent. All industry, finance, and transportation will be nationalized. The Karati army will be reformed under the command of the Tarun Matara. New trade agreements will be established with China and India, as well as the West, and a petition will be submitted to join the UN. A graduated income tax will be implemented, child labor will be abolished, and education will be free for all. So they had some big plans. Really big plans. He had this thing all planned out. Ishwari and I fought again. We never used to act like this, but lately it seems like everything sets her off. She again brought up the issue of allowing women into the Golden Path, and again I put my foot down. The front lines are no place for them. Let them work in our kitchens, hospitals, as drivers, or even carrying munitions. She insists a female corps would be combat ready in as few as 3 months. We need more fighters, but now is not the time for radical ideas. My son was born today. His name is Ghale. He weighs 5 pounds and 4 ounces and measures 17 inches long. His eyes look exactly like Ishwari's, and all he does is cry and sleep and suckle. I feel a renewed sense of purpose. Karat will be free, I swear it. I will not rest until Pagan Min is dead. My son will grow up free and without fear. Ajay, my beautiful boy, every day I hold you in my arms is a gift. You are my light and my strength. I pray to Kira daily for your health and safekeeping. I pray for an end to our current hardships before you are old enough to understand them, so that your childhood can be spent running free in the fields and valleys. I pray that you grow to become a good man, one who knows the meaning of duty, honor, and compassion. The war does not go well for us. Pagan has put a young protege named Yuma Lau in charge of hunting down any former mercenaries who once worked for him. She's been incredibly effective in her role. At every turn, we are outnumbered, outgunned, and outclassed. I don't know how much longer we can hold out. Kira, help us. We must find a way to even the score. It may be time to take a risk. May Banashir watch over Ishwari and Ajay should anything happen to me. The CIA contact has made good on his promise and delivered the weapons. I'm usually wary of strangers bearing gifts, but in this case I have made an exception. I'm glad I did. We now have enough firepower to stand on even footing with Pagan's men. I've already begun the task of training the men to use these new arms. The American offered to provide me with military advisors, but I declined. This is a war for Karat, and it will be won by Karatis, not Americans. Curse Pagan men and his foreign whore. The Royal Army has started collecting karate artifacts from temples and homes. He's storing them all at Jalandu Island. I don't know what he intends to do with the artifacts, but he will not get his hands on the Kalanag Thanka. As much as it pains me, I've asked Darpin to separate it into different pieces and hide them throughout Karat. The story of Kalanag will not be lost to the likes of Yuma. Excuse me. That's actually interesting, because when it says separate it into different pieces, wasn't it already in different pieces? I thought it was. Or maybe that's not exactly what that means, but the lost letters were from the 1800s, and they said that it was in 5 different pieces. So I don't know if there's just an inconsistency or if they meant something that I'm not understanding. I am losing the war in my marriage. Ishwari and I fight constantly about everything and nothing. I can't bear to return home after being out in the field. I would prefer the sting of a bullet to her constant scorn. She's frustrated that I've kept her away from the fighting. Kept her, she says, from contributing. I'm going to send her to the royal palace, right into the tiger's den. Let her see what Min has done to Karat for herself before she judges me so harshly. Ishwari, if you still love me, you will do this, and not question my orders. There is no other way. Pagan trusts you. Maybe it runs deeper than that. Use that to your advantage. Gain access to his organization and subvert it from the inside. Relay any pertinent information back to me. Timetables, supply routes, overseas contracts, etc. We must strike from all sides at once. Take Ajay with you. It will bolster your cover story. Return only after we have achieved victory. I have learned that Pagan Min has secretly met with senior members of the Golden Path to discuss the terms of our surrender. These are people I have fought alongside for years. They tell me that Pagan promises us peace if we lay down our arms. Pagan lies. Anyone who met with Pagan is a traitor, and they must be dealt with. It was a difficult decision, and history will judge me harshly, but I had these traitors executed this morning. Kira, forgive me. You whore. What you've done is unforgivable. You've betrayed me. You've betrayed the entire Golden Path. I have spent every hour of the last 3 years trying to end Min's reign of terror. What have you done except spread your legs? Your mission was simple. Collect intelligence. Not sleep with the enemy. Not fuck their commander. Not bear the false king a daughter. What's her name? It doesn't matter. You wretched, selfish whore. I'm coming for you. I'm coming to correct your mistake. Ajay, know that everything I've done is for you. All I have ever wanted is for you to grow up in a safe and prosperous country, but that goal required sacrifice. I regret that I wasn't there to see your first steps or hear your first words, but the burden of command leaves little room for sentiment or distraction. Your mother used to get upset when I spoke about your future training, but if this war should outlive me, you must be ready to assume my position. The future of Karat is in your hands. And that's that. That's everything. Man, that was a lot of reading. And maybe some of you clicked on this video were not expecting a bunch of reading, and if so, I apologize. But I don't know what you expected. It's 100%, and that is you know, Ubisoft's idea of giving you 100% of something. In GTA 5, it was a mission, and here it's just a lot of reading. But it actually helps you understand a lot of the backstory stuff. So that's really helpful. Now, the one thing I didn't get a chance to do, partially because the game actually crashed when I tried it, was I wanted to try out that golden pipe back in my home. I'm going to try that out quick, because that's something that I never did get a chance to do. All right, here we go. Interact. Okay. I'm waking up in the river.
What the hell?
This is odd. Is this like some final mission for doing all the Yogi and Reggie missions? I don't understand. Is everything normal? Does it just teleport you to a random location? I think actually it may just teleport you to a random location, which is kind of weird. If it does more than that, I am not aware. But, interesting. Is that really all it did? Weird. I think that is literally all it did. Well, everything is done. All of the stuff on the map is done. We got 100%. I feel pretty accomplished. There's just one last thing to do. If you guys were not aware, there is a secret ending to Far Cry 4. Do you guys recall the first episode way back? Back then, whenever we started, we had dinner with Pagan Min and Paul and the guy that helped smuggle us in, Darpan, I think was his name. We went to dinner with these people, and Pagan left the room and said, "I have to take a call, please wait," and that's when we escaped. Well, apparently, if you actually wait and do as he says and sit there for like 10 to 15 minutes, there's a secret ending. So without further ado, let's take a look at what happens when you actually wait on Pagan Min and follow his orders.
Please, stay right here. Enjoy the crab Rangoon. Don't move. I will be right back. Yuma, we need to talk.
Okay, first and foremost, and this is really important, like, please do as I say. You guys should really pause this video right now, go back to episode 1, and rewatch the intro. I'm not going to include it all here because it's a repeat of what was in episode 1, but seriously, having played through the entire game, knowing the events of the game, and especially after reading Mohan Ghale's journal, that intro is like, oh my god. There's so much, I don't know, so much really like foreshadowing and things like that. Just highly recommended. If you've got the extra like 7 minutes, pause this video now, go back and watch the intro from episode 1, and it will help. I don't know. It was awesome watching it again, because first off, knowing Pagan and know how he progresses through the game, it was just really cool. So watch it if you get a chance. Otherwise, I'm going to wait right here for, I guess, 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, fan-bloody-tastic. You, sir, are a gentleman. I sincerely apologize. We saw terrorists in the area and yada yada. The crab Rangoon, right? It's... fabulous. Well, come on, let's go.
Oh man, I cannot wait to see what this entails.
3-point landing. You know, part of me is surprised your mother asked for you to bring her all the way back here. Thank you, Kamran.
You want me to follow you?
Jesus Christ. Yes, boy, the ashes aren't going to scatter themselves. Did your mother ever tell you about your father?
Never know.
Mohan, the great protector of the Golden Path. He was a cunt. He hauled your mother out, sent her to spy on me. But we fell in love we had a child. And that is when Mohan showed his true colors. He drove you and your mother away, even killed your sister, Lakshmana. Which brings us here. Lakshmana shouldn't be alone anymore. I'm so glad we're finally back together. After you.
Man, it's so weird because, like, even the end of the game, Pagan is not as forward as that. He's just not. It's actually kind of incredible how forward he is. Also, it says 1 out of 20 because obviously we had to start a new game. It's kind of incredible because Pagan is actually a pretty cool guy. He was always really cool to Ajay. I know this is kind of like a bizarro universe where none of the crap that we spent the entire LP, doing happened. But it's just amazing how he had no reluctance to be like, hey, you're here and let me help you and show you and explain things. That is wild. I mean, this is literally what it took, I don't know, 25 hours or 30 hours to work towards. And we did it in like 10 minutes. This is obviously not the intended ending, but this is a nice little bonus for anyone who has already completed the game.
Oh, good. You feel better now? Get it out of your system? Good. Maybe now we can finally shoot some goddamn guns.
Okay, so that is the end. Because I was wondering, like, in the normal ending, what happens is, they, you have to decide if you're going, like, Pagan flies away and you have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to go with him or shoot him, or not go with him, let him go or shoot him down? And this is quite different. That's funny. We're seeing the credits for the second time. But that's it. That is all of Far Cry 4. Honestly, top to bottom, it was a fantastic game. I don't want to rave too much about it because I had just talked about all this over the last time we saw the credits. But it was phenomenal. It was really good. And the story, in my opinion, was the best part. That little ending there, or I guess quick ending, is fantastic. And it is a nice little extra morsel after you've already finished the game, which is really cool. Anyway, that's it. Far Cry 4 is over. I know people have been asking if I'm going to be doing Valley of the Ghale DLC, and I am not. I do not plan on doing that, at least not right now. It doesn't mean it will never happen, but it's not going to happen right now. There are other priorities. Far Cry 4 is going to be being replaced with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, a game series that has started to become very near and dear to my heart. Actually, another Ubisoft title, and a lot of people are looking forward to it. So stay tuned for more StephenPlays, of course, and get excited for the return of Ezio in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. See you guys next time.